G'day everybody, I thought I'd do a quick video about cleaning 22 rimfire rifles. Might be helpful for some people. A lot of people don't have any issue cleaning centerfire rifles with their bigger bore and the various issues you have there. Now when it comes to rimfire, it's a little bit more delicate, mainly because of the size of what you're trying to clean. You're cleaning lead rather than say, well, I'm not going to say no carbon, but like more carbon buildup or copper buildup. And then obviously everyone has a sort of different way of doing things and a different opinion on what you should do when it comes to rimfire. So I struggled with it for years, mainly the size of what I was trying to do. Trying to poke down that little hole, it's about a 5.6 millimeter hole-ish. So that can be harder with your more conventional ways of doing things, different jags that I've tried over the years. Different stuff, so not a lot of that's worked for me. No, dragging patches and all of that hasn't really worked. So through watching different things and various ways, I've figured out a way of what works for me, and I seem to get good results. Now, one thing I'll say is going into this is more for competitive rimfire, obviously. The more competition-based rimfire have quite tight chambers, so you need to be putting a bit more effort into keeping your chamber clean and also preventing any carbon buildup in there. So there's that. And then obviously if you are being quite competitive with very small targets at distance and such, having an ultra dirty barrel, it definitely doesn't help. Now some people may think they never have to clean their gun, but I doubt they are trying to achieve the kinds of accuracy that we are. So a few things I've found that work really, really well. Obviously a correctly dimensioned cleaning rod. This is a J. Dewey one. To be honest, I got this off Trade Me, new, secondhand new. It's about 1100 millimeters of usable rod, and obviously the head turns, if you can see that. And it's about 5.2 millimeters in diameter, so it's smaller than the bore. That definitely helps. Just getting it in and out of the barrel, right? If you're trying to use a larger centerfire one, they can maybe just fit, but I find they cause problems. So first thing is get a rod that works, simple as. Now, obviously, if it comes to cleaning the bolt, this is a voodoo bolt, a little bit grubby. It's just shot a match in a practice day. So I'll go through, I won't fully disassemble it, but I'll clean it with a brake clean or something similar. And then I will use, I've got some brass brushes here and then nylon brushes. So depending on the severity of the build-up will be how hard I go. I don't use the stainless brushes on it. They're quite hard, and I don't think they'll damage these hardened parts, but still I go with a bit of a less aggressive option, and I'll clean that off. And then for oil I'll use, for no particular reason, is I paid like $7 for it. I've got this Lucas gun oil, really, really cheap. I just put a few dabs on. You can see the surfaces of the bolt that sort of rub, and as they move through the action, I'll just put a little light bit of oil, rub it on my fingers there. I don't run a super sloppy bolt, and yeah, it works pretty fine. A little bit of oil or grease up to you around there, easy as. Nothing on the bolt face, obviously. So bolt's pretty straightforward. Occasionally I'll disassemble and pull all the crud that slowly builds up around the firing pin, but I don't do that every time. Now, as I said, because we're going for precision, I won't go into a match with my my bolt action rimfire that doesn't have a somewhat clean barrel. So before the match, I'll do a bunch of practice, whatever, check my dope, then I'll bring it home, clean it right out in a way we'll talk about in a second, and then I will foul it in with, say, 20 or 30 shots of the ammunition I plan to use for the match. So that can change depending on what's available, but I don't practice with the same ammunition I can compete with purely because of cost. So I've got to make sure it's fouled back in and with the correct ammo. So, because I'm rambling on a bit, how do I clean it? The best way I've found is probably, well, I sort of learned from the small bore shooters, those who are familiar with that sport. These felt pellets, for some reason they call them mouse tampons in the local area where I learned to do small bore. And they're a really, really simple way of cleaning the barrel itself. So we'll cover the chamber in a second, but we'll just talk about the barrel for now. So you need to get these big boxes. I got these ones from Target Shooting New Zealand or someone, the small bore suppliers. Forgive me for not knowing their name. But what the most important part I find is this little jag here. So this jag is specifically made to receive one of these little pellets. I don't know if you can see, and there's a tiny little bit of thread on there, and they thread on and it holds it nice and stiff. Then obviously that will attach to my cleaning rod. So you can push that through your rifle and it won't fall off. And then obviously if you did want it to just go through and fall off, you could put it on a bit less. They're nice and steady, easy to poke in, and you get a heap of them, right? So these little sets here from Tipton, which I got from 10.1, so Tony Gore is great to deal with. He sourced these for me. It's a pack, and it comes with, I don't know, 100 or so of these, 100 of these felt bits, and it also comes with one of the specific cleaning jags that you need. So because I was conscious of potentially breaking one of these, as I have in the past, I got 2 packs. So I got two of the jags. You can probably get them on their own, but at the time it's all I could get. And then I just buy the bulk felt pellets. So what I'll do for the barrel itself is, to start with, I'll push through one of these with some Vortec Rimfire blend. Now, again, whatever cleaning stuff you like is fine. I've just used Rimfire for years. Rimfire blend from Vortec. I haven't seen much point in changing. And to be honest, one of those bottles lasts you for an eon, it seems. So I'll push a wet patch through of that. Now, I'm not trying to fully strip everything out of it. So what I do is I'll put through a wet one. I won't push through a brush or anything. I'll let it sit in there for, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. And then I'll just push through patches, one after another, clean patches every time with the jag. I'm not drawing them back and forward. I am purely pushing them from the action to the muzzle. Most of the time I'll use a bore guide, but that's to sort of prevent you damaging the edge of your chamber. Occasionally I don't, and you just got to be really careful when you put it in that you're not smacking into the edges of the chamber with your jag. So I'll push through like maybe 10, 20 of these until they're essentially coming out clean. They might not be perfectly clean, but they're coming out pretty clean. And that's how I do that. And then obviously I'll have a bit of excess junk at the crown. So I'll give that a wipe out, clean it all, and then maybe push one more jag through it just in case I've pushed any material back up from the crown. And that's pretty simple. So these make your life so easy, so fast. And then for the chamber itself, all I have here is these, they're like a 25 cal brush, 22/25 cal, for whatever reason they are that. I soaked one of those in C4, which is a carbon remover, and I just, I don't actually know where it is, but I have a pistol cleaning rod. I can also use my long one. I'll screw it on there and I'll insert that into the action, probably further past the chamber, to be honest, into the chamber, and I just let that soak for 15 minutes, half an hour. I'll go do another job. I don't care if it sits in there for 2 hours. Then I'll come back, I'll give it several twists just to free up any carbon. I don't put any hard brushes or anything like that in there, although I do have some in my little kit just in case I did have an issue out in the field. Let that soak, and then I will, sometimes I'll poke some more of the felts through, and then finally, once I'm happy I've removed all of the carbon cleaner and hopefully any carbon that's built up, I have, to be honest, I buy these ones at Temu for really cheap. They're just, because I'm using them almost disposably. I'll insert one of these into the chamber, a brand new one, and then I will essentially just clean out the chamber with a nice dry clean bore mop and pull that out, and then I'm generally pretty good to go. So that way, barrel's pretty clean, or quite clean. Chamber's spotless. I want my chamber to be super clean since I have a nice tight match chamber. And then I'll go through and foul and check zero and make sure I'm all good to go. Obviously, I haven't done it on camera, the cleaning, but it's all pretty straightforward. But these are the things I use to get pretty good results. Like I said, I think like 250 rounds, 300 rounds even on the match guns is fine. But I would definitely not be going into a match, like a competitive match where I'm trying to do well without having a somewhat clean barrel. So food for thought anyway, about keeping it all clean. And then in my stuff, I have like some lens brushes and things for taking dust off and puffers and stuff like that. just in case the scope gets dirty. But that's another issue when we're competing. So keep the barrel clean and you should get good results.